Hi, and welcome to Confidence Equals Beauty with Amanda Taylor. I am your host, Amanda Taylor. Hi, and welcome to Confidence Equals Beauty podcast. Y'all, it has been a minute since we've last met. And part of that is because I needed to take a break in January to regroup from life just throwing obstacles in my way. And just several things happened, and I really needed to regroup, rethink, kind of go into myself and figure out what the next steps to take for myself and for this community. Also, in honesty, I just kind of forgot the boundary of it's okay to say no. And I said yes to too many things. Too many things I said yes to. And by the time I came up for air, I'm realizing it is now March. And I let time go by without even realizing how fast the weeks and the months go by. So first, let me just apologize that it has been a minute. As we go through this next season, I will reveal a little more of what was going on and happening to me. And I hit a wall. I kind of hit a place where I had to just, like I said, go inward. I had to really evaluate my personal life and what I'm going through. Because if I'm going to be there for you and we're going to build this community together, I need to get my shit together. And just honestly, just get it together. And not just tell you what works for me, but actually it's kind of funny. When I create content for this podcast or even the Confidence Equals Beauty blog, it never fails that the thing that I'm really reaching out, pouring into, I am going to face it head on, even harder than I thought I would. And I'm like, part of me is like, sometimes I don't even want to create content because that means, that saying you gotta, if you're going to walk the walk or talk the talk, you better walk the walk. And I literally go through that every single time I create content. And I think that's God's way of saying, Amanda, this is your calling. This is your gift. This is your purpose. This is something you love to do. You love pouring into women. But I am going to also show you that you also have to really live by what you're loving on others. And I think it is. It's so easy to just love on other people. See the positives, give them all the hope, give them all, just comfort, praise, compliments. It's so easy to do that for other people. I think it's so hard to do it for ourselves. I know I struggle with it. But kind of moving on, season 2, I'm really excited. We're here. We've done it. We've gotten to a season 2, and I'm excited to announce that I am going to do some mental health education. My background is I have 15 years as a mental health therapist. I specifically worked with children and families and adolescents, but I really think, it's time to kind of start educating what mental health really is, how I can help you guys with it, how to recognize it. So I'm going to be going over some common mental health issues that people may face and help educate people to help reduce the stigmas that are often associated with mental health. And I also want to start bringing in hard conversations that we need to be able to discuss in a safe place. And I feel that women, we will talk about certain topics. We'll talk about our kids. We'll talk about our family, church. We talk about being busy. Maybe a complaint here and there. Or we really only want to be I'm fine, I'm good. And we only really want to talk about the good things happening. But in these last few months that I've kind of went in and kind of went into my cave, kind of did my thing, I also were talking to really close friends. And there were a lot of conversations that kept coming up that we don't want to talk about because we don't want to be a burden to someone, or we don't know what to say. And it's just there's conversations an example, miscarriages, maybe a divorce, money struggles, infertility issues, wanting to fix relationship problems, grief, parenting concerns, and there are just many other topics that we either do not know how others will respond to, so we are afraid or embarrassed to even bring up the topics. So please keep in touch so you don't miss out on season 2. So today I kind of want to discuss some things that while I was in, I call it my cave, going inward to work on some things that were bothering me, I kind of came up with an unraveling of a journey that I've been taking and will need to continue to take. And today I want to unravel this transformative journey towards embracing change and living life to the fullest. And this is information from season 1, but I want to kind of go a little bit further with self-discovery and empowerment. So I want to ask you, what would it look like if you had a life filled with boundless growth, opportunities, where every challenge becomes a stepping stone towards personal greatness? That's, a journey that I've really had to embark on. And I'm really excited that through my, dark time, I can kind of share with you some steps that have guided me along the way. So I want to start off with, let's halt the habit of complaints and embrace the gift of gratitude. During the winter months, I don't know if you do this, but I tend to get on the gloomy side. I feel more down. I find myself complaining a little more. Some call this seasonal depression. I don't know if I agree with it or not, but I kind of see how it could be a real thing. I think it's because it's too cold outside to really go outside and enjoy my nature walks that I love to do, or just be out in the sun. It's also a time where everything looks dull and lifeless. The leaves are not on the trees. The grass is kind of dead. It just looks gloomy. And now I live in the South, so we only get maybe 1 week of freezing cold weather where we shut down everything because we have a few, snowflakes. But, it still looks gloomy. I have no idea what it's like to live in snow. I have no idea what it's like to have that life of freezing temperatures. But I do know during this time of year, I find myself kind of getting gloomy. And I wonder how many people get this way. I watched the news the other day, and I rarely do this because it really creates anxiety and frustration when I do watch the news. And I noticed every topic, everything that was going on in the news. We live in a pretty negative world. And in a world that is full of negativity, I really found in the impact of gratitude. And this is by pausing to appreciate the blessings that I have to notice in my life each day. And I feel like when I started looking around and paying attention to the things I was grateful for, I felt like this box that unlocked, and a joy that came deep within me that I guess I haven't allowed myself to experience because I can be a negative Nancy from time to time, Debbie Downer, any of those little, fun little joking nicknames. But I did. It's like I started looking, okay, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that. And this sucks, but what I'm going through sucks, but I'm kind of grateful it could have been worse. And it, like I said, it just kind of unlocked a joy that I just never really experienced or allowed myself to experience. And trust me, I can do a fair share of complaining, especially when I'm overwhelmed. My husband has learned, my children have learned, when I have, they call it the look. And I know it's because I'm overwhelmed. And they ask me what's wrong. It is like explosion of word vomit of anything and everything that could go wrong. And they're like, whoa, I just asked you how you are. I didn't want to know all of that, but I have had those problems before. But I also realized that complaining doesn't really solve the problem. It just kind of causes my mood to spiral down. So when I do find gratitude in a situation, I have learned that my mood does improve and there is joy that I do experience. And like I said, I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, but I really want to encourage you and really challenge yourself to look for the gratitude in the hard situations. And I'm aware that there are many things we experience and we wonder, well, how the heck are we going to get out of this experience? Or it weighs heavy on us and it feels, almost impossible to see the outcome. And I want to try to challenge you. Seek the good. Look for the gratitude. Find the gratification in whatever situation you can, in whatever you're experiencing. And with this practice, it does become like a norm in your everyday life. And gratitude can help you get through any situation. So I want to move on to another thing, and it's solitude, the forge of self-reinvention. And this has a lot to do what I did in January. And I took a lot of time alone, when I had the chance to be alone. And we know as mothers, wives, and all the other hats that we wear, it's really hard to find alone time. And I think also we tend to feel like solitude or silence is a bad thing or something is wrong. And in honesty, it's actually the opposite. Solitude isn't just a journey that I've had to go on and make myself be alone or make myself be silent. It's a universal experience that we all can share. And I think about it as like, okay, you're going to go to a place of, being alone, get to a quiet place. And I want you to think about it as a blank canvas waiting to be painted with colors. Because when you go through this, you're going to start unraveling more of your inner story or more of what you want to become. And in the quiet moments of solitude, we each have the opportunity to dive deep into the depths of our hearts and minds and uncovering just all of our thoughts. We can uncover all of our dreams and all of our desires. And I used to fear solitude, seeing it as a path, like a lonely path. I hated silence. I would clutter any dead space with music, TV, internet searching, too busy of a schedule. But over time, I have come to realize that it is in these moments of quiet reflection that we can find our truest self. And it's where we can confront our fears, embrace our vulnerabilities, and tap into basically a wellspring of strength that resides in each of us. And solitude isn't just about just being alone. It's about being fully present with ourselves. It's about giving ourselves the space and time to explore who we are, what we want, and where we're headed. Kind of like I told you, that blank canvas. You can start creating your true self. You can start creating, okay, these are my possibilities. This is what I want. This is where I want to go. This is where I'm headed. And in doing so, you really do open up yourself to a world of possibility. And a world where, if we do this, if you allow yourself to do this, if I allow myself to do this, we can really discover what our dreams are and live our true, authentic self. So if you ever find yourself in a time of alone or being alone, solitude, please don't shy away from it. Embrace it. Lean into it. Let it guide you on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Because in the end, solitude isn't a destination. It is a path to a deeper connection, both with ourselves and with the world around us. And this also is a great opportunity to lean in closer to your spiritual side, to your higher power. In the silence, I feel more close to God because I'm allowing myself to be present and let Him lead me instead of me trying to take control or put in a busy moment when I just needed to be still and just get closer to Him, to God. So moving on, say goodbye to energy vampires. This is negative or toxic people. I have mentioned this so many times, and we continue to go down that path where we keep letting our boundaries drop and we just keep letting the negative people in our lives. And so I'm going to bring it up again, and I've had to do this all over again in a new and a different way. Surrounding myself with positivity has been so vital to my own growth. And I think it will be so vital to your growth. Letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. And it can be one of the most empowering decisions that you ever make. And I've personally experienced the liberation that comes from saying goodbye, bidding farewell, to connections that dimmed my light, and embracing those that fuel my soul and propel me towards greatness. And it's not easy to walk away from relationships, especially when they've been a significant part of our lives. But it's important to come to understand that true growth often requires letting go of what no longer aligns with your value, aspirations, or well-being. And so I found that by surrounding myself with individuals who uplift, support, and inspire me, I have cultivated a nurturing network of connections that serve as pillars of strength to my journey. And these are people who see my potential. They celebrate my victories. They lift me up during the times of struggles. These are the people that actually see my blind spots. And they're like, Amanda, you're not seeing this, but let me speak into this in a loving way because I want you to see your potential. And I think this is so true for you. If you're struggling and you have that one person in your life that just doesn't seem to be on board, or they don't understand, they don't see your vision, they're not even trying to understand, they just want to nag at you, or it's time to just say, okay, I'm going to love you from a distance, but I'm needing to part ways. And when you do find the people that uplift you and nurturing these connections, there's really a powerful in being authentic in your relationship. And it builds on trust, mutual respect, genuine care. And together, what I love about these friendships is it embarks on a journey of growth, self-discovery, and each person is contributing to this. You're contributing to that you're a friend because you are also trying to be a positive, uplifting, loving, true, authentic friend to your relationships. And this is in marriage, can be in family relationships, this is in friendships, this is in all kinds of relationships. And it's beautiful when you can see that you have I've lifted up my friend and I'm cheering my friend along and I see her journey and I'm cheering her and I'm so excited. You're both doing it together and it's such a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful thing when you're in the deep, dark place and people go there with you and they sit there with you. And they're just pouring into you love. They're not complaining with you or going down. They're like, no, I'm here with you. Let's do this together. It's a beautiful thing. So if you find yourself in relationships that are dimming your light, know that it's okay to let go. Trust in the wisdom of your intuition and surround yourself with those who ignite your passion. Fuel your soul, help you shine bright, because I'm telling you, these relationships are so beautiful when they happen. Unplug and seize control of time and attention. So in a world that's constantly demanding our attention, reclaiming control over our time has been, it's a really important thing. And so for me, I've had to unplug. I didn't necessarily want to, but I needed to. And it's because I allow myself to get so distracted with pretty much any digital consumption. I'm like, what's going on? Who's where? What are they doing? Oh, God, her content's amazing. I wish my content was amazing. I'm just constantly, okay, I don't like this commercial. I'm going to start scrolling through my phone. Or, oh, it's dead time. Let me just distract it, like I said, goes back to that previous point. It's okay to be alone in silence. But we've heard it over and over again. I've said it over and over again, but we are in a culture where smartphones, social media, and constant trying to be in the know, it's easy to lose ourselves in a whirlwind of notifications and distractions. And however, I have discovered that by intentionally dialing back on my screen time and setting boundaries around my digital habits, I have really created a space for deeper engagement within the world around me. Now, this may hurt with the idea of influencing others and put content out there. But in all honesty, that just gets kind of annoying and can occupy the space in my head. I need to be more present with myself and my family. And I've also heard it from others who are trying to change and help others, often feel the pressure of just having to be present on social media or post content. And they too say that they find themselves just getting overwhelmed. I know I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said to me that she just feels like every time she has her phone in her hand, she immediately goes into this small anxiety experience of starting to compare herself of what she's not doing, or wow, she just can't seem to keep up with all the information that's constantly being put in her face and changing. And every time she thinks she's caught up, it changes again. And she finally was talking to me, and she said, I came to the decision, I just had to limit my time. I had to put my phone down. I had to turn it down, the face down. I had to turn off so many notifications because her phone was just doing something unhealthy to her. So I'm going to encourage you, instead of mindlessly scrolling through endless feeds or getting lost in a lure of virtual reality, try to reconnect with the pleasures of life. Savoring a cup of coffee without checking on your phone. That's a bad one for me, and that's one I am working on consistently. Just enjoying my cup of coffee and leaving my phone alone, and enjoying the mornings of the birds chirping, kids rolling out of bed, starting my day, and then just like having intentional of, this is my cup of coffee, this is my morning routine, and I'm going to enjoy this. This is taking a stroll in nature. Maybe engaging in meaningful conversations with a loved one. Like, actually get on the phone and actually call someone instead of just checking in on what they're doing on Facebook, I think in carving out time where you are not bombarded with digital content, you go through a digital detox. I personally think this is a great time for self-reflection, creativity, and almost an authentic reconnection to yourself. A reconnection with others. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I did kind of separate myself, I kind of felt alive. I felt more present. I felt more in tune with myself and those around me, because instead of just checking on them on social media, I did send out that text. I did send the email. I did call them. And I think when you do this, you might find yourself feeling more connected with yourself, with others, instead of just scrolling. So if you're ever feeling overwhelmed by the constant demands, your attention being towards media, social media, your phone, computer, TV, it can be anything. Disconnect to reconnect and slow down, savor the richness of life. And rediscover the beauty of genuine human connection in a world that often seems dominated by screens and basically the algorithms that our phones have created for us. So I'll talk about crafting mastery, the pursuit of a skill. Mastery is not simply achieved. It's a journey of relentless pursuit and unwavering dedication. So for me, my journey has been wholeheartedly devoted to music. I love learning how to play an instrument. I love learning new songs. Or my new passion has been confidence equals beauty and coming up with content, having to be very creative. And so whether it's mastering a musical instrument, honing in on a craft, maybe writing, art, diving deep into maybe an entrepreneurship, I think it's really important to pursue with a commitment to excellence. And note that I said commit to excellence, not perfection. And there is a difference. When you are learning on honing on a craft or learning something, excellence is bringing the best I can with the skills that I have learned thus far. It's interesting. It's not, I have to be perfect before I do it, or it has to be perfect before I can present it, or it has to be perfect before I actually can, play that song. No, it's bringing the excellence of what you've learned thus far and doing the best you can with what you have. And this dedication has really propelled me to push so many of my comfort zones. It embraces challenges and opportunities for growth. And it helps marks a journey for yourself. That's hours of practice, or I don't have hours of practice, but minutes. Listen to me, I can't even talk today. It's minutes of practicing. It's refinement. It's bringing me closer to the mastery that I want to have. But mastery is not just about achieving a high-level skill. It's about embodying a mindset of continuous improvement and lifelong journey. It's about embracing the process, celebrating the process, remaining humble in the face of success. Oh, there's nothing better to have a piece of music in front of you that you just did not think you could do, and you finally nail it. And then you're like, oh, okay, it took me however XY long to do this. This feels good. But then be humble about it. Like, I'm glad that journey took me, because now I feel like I achieved something. And this can lead to fulfillment through the process of not just the destination of where you think you want or should be. It just helps you enjoy the process of learning something. And so I want to kind of piggyback on this. Have clear goals, and they serve as your North Star. So keep having goals. Like I said, I'll disclose more and more as we go through this time together, what all I've kind of been through the last few months. What really did help me out when I had to work through some emotions and work through some mental situations and some physical situations, I had to keep having goals. It's an unwavering determination and the pursuit of goals that overcome obstacles when you focus on a clear vision. And each challenge that I have faced has only fueled by my drive to succeed. So pushing, me forward with resilience and persistence. Now, this is not easy. And this is not something I can actually brag about, even though I want to. It's something that is constantly, okay, this didn't meet my expectation. This didn't meet what I wanted. But what goals can I continue to keep having to make it work, to make it meet? What's my North Star? Where am I going? Where do I want to keep going? And I can say that just the simple act of working towards goals is so fulfilling. It's making progress, even if it's just a little progress. And goals can be a sense of accomplishment. And when you see yourself getting closer to the goals, there's a sense of joy, and all that effort pays off. And I want to talk about embracing the failure. We've talked about this in the past. But it is hard to embrace failure, not as a crushing defeat, but changing the mindset, but it's a valuable opportunity for growth. And each setback I encounter serves as a lesson. It's a chance to, reassess my approaches, learn from my mistakes, and to even come back stronger. And no, I do not like the idea of failing. It is not my favorite part of what I want to go through. But by reframing failure as a natural part of a learning process, it's been able to cultivate resilience and I can't even say this word. Being tenacious I call my child a tenacious child. And is facing the adversity that happens to you. And that did not come out the way I really wanted it to, but that's okay, because let's just roll with it. By reframing failure as a part of a learning process, you do build resilience. You do see how to face something that didn't go the way you wanted it. So, for me, adapting this mindset is really helping me go back to some of the things that we've talked about in this current episode. As, I learned something. It didn't go the way I wanted it, but I learned something about myself. And I learned that setbacks are really only temporary. And using them as stepping stones really does actually create a future. A future that actually looks successful. And I'm going to continue to work on this. And I'm pretty sure I am not just, getting on myself and telling y'all like, oh, this is what I struggle with. I really feel like we all have this sense of we don't want to fail, or failure is such a bad thing. But it's just an opportunity to learn what to do the next time, or what not to do the next time. So, in closing, I'm excited about season 2. It's finally coming. It's finally here. Thank you for those who recently joined Confidence Equals Beauty community. Thank you to those who have been with me since day 1. And we have gone through the trips and tumbles and the bad grammar and all the stumblings like I've done today. Thank you for going through it with me. You just kind of have to laugh at yourself when you can't say a word right, or, your tongue gets jumbled up. You just kind of have to roll with it. But thank you for your time and coming on this journey with me, listening to some of the things that I've really had to go through in the last couple months. And remember, the adventure of transformation awaits just beyond the threshold of change. Embrace it, cherish it, watch it as your life blossoms into the masterpiece that you were created to be. And remember, confidence equals beauty. If you're looking for more information to read on building confidence or just any life situations, please visit www.confidenceequalsbeauty.com. If you have any questions on any topic you want me to cover, please email me at amandarobinsontaylor@gmail.com. If you would please help me get this podcast to more people who could use the community and support, please like, follow, subscribe, and share this podcast. Also, please rate this podcast, preferably a good rating, so this podcast can reach more and more people. I want to thank you for spending your time with me, and remember, confidence equals beauty.